Hello, welcome to the Multicultural Association of Fredericton's Employment Services YouTube page. Today we're going to talk about the MCAF Scholarship. So we'll go right into our presentation here. All right, so we're going to start with some frequently asked questions about the MCAF Scholarship. Where can you find the application for the scholarship? So I'm actually going to go right into our website. So if you type in mcaf.nb.ca, you'll come to this home page, and I'm going to click English. And then here's our home page with all of our services and information. You're going to go to the newcomer drop-down menu and select Child and Youth Programs. And then it will take you to our homepage for the children and youth. And if you scroll down, you will find this icon with scholarships. Click on that one. It will take you to a new page. And if you scroll down about halfway, you'll find this photograph and the newcomer scholarship. And here is the scholarship guidelines and application form. And here is the frequently asked questions presentation that I will be showing shortly. So here would be where you would find the application form. And if you need any more information, this would be the email to contact. I'm going to X out of these now and go back to our presentation. Okay. So why should you apply for the MCAF scholarship? Scholarships are free money. So when you receive a scholarship, you don't have to pay it back, which is different from student loans, where you would borrow money from the government or the bank, and then once you are done your studies, then you would pay it back. So it's a really great resource if you are looking to pursue post-secondary education, so university or college, and you need some help to pay for that. How much will I receive? It changes every year depending on funding and how many applicants there are. So it will range from $500 to $2,000. When does the application close? This is a very important date. Applications close on June 30th. So the very last day of June is the deadline to submit all of your documents. And then once you have submitted your documents, you will find out if you have been successful by the end of July. So those are two very important dates, June 30th and July 31st. If you need any help filling out the application, you can reach out to our employment coaches, and they can help you with filling that out. You can also reach out to your guidance counselor or academic advisor or the youth department as well at MCAF, and they will help you to fill out that form. One of the requirements for the application is to submit your most recent transcript. So how you would access that is by contacting your school's registrar's office. Or if you are in high school, speaking with your admin team at the high school, your vice principal, any of your teachers or your guidance counselor could help you with that. And also if you are some schools have an online platform, so you can access your student account, and that transcript information should be there as well. Okay, I'm going to switch to a different presentation now. Okay, here's more information about the scholarship, about the application for the scholarship. So there are several documents that you will need to prepare in order to fill out the requirements for the scholarship application. There's an income and expenses section. So you will need your previous year's income tax return and potentially your spouse's income tax return and your parents' income tax return. So those are very important to have because they will be that will be the information used to determine if you are eligible for financial aid. Once again, your most recent official transcript, as I previously said, and then confirmation of acceptance or enrollment in a post-secondary program. So you need to prove that you are actually going to school in the next school year, so September usually. So that could be your letter of acceptance, or if you are already in a post-secondary program, you can request a letter of enrollment or submit some other proof of your that you are attending university or college. Finally, you'll need 2 reference letters. One reference should be able to comment on your academic achievements. So this could be a teacher, a professor, if you're at university or college, an instructor, a tutor. So anyone that has to do with your schooling and your grades. And then the other reference can be anyone that knows you, that isn't a family member. So it could be a coach, it could be a supervisor from work, it could be a manager, it could be a coworker or someone that you volunteer with. So these people are meant to be character references. So people who can speak to your strengths and your interests and why you would be a good candidate to receive the MCAF scholarship. Where to find the scholarship, we've already gone through that. Now here is the actual form. This is the very first page. Now on the first page of the form, this is mostly information that's for you to make sure that your application is complete and that you have everything needed to submit your application. So there's this checklist. First is the actual application form. You'll need to print that out and fill out all the sections. A copy of your previous year's income tax for yourself, your spouse if you have one, and your mother and father if you are living with them, or your guardians if you are living with them. A transcript of your highest level of education, which we already mentioned twice. A written confirmation of your acceptance or enrollment in the program that we've already mentioned. And then your 2 letters of reference. Finally, on the first page, you have how you are able to submit your documents and your complete application form for the scholarship. So this is a great tool for when you think you're all done, you've completed all the sections on the form, and you're getting ready to submit your documents and your application. So you can check off and make sure that you have all the information needed. This is a second page. It says right here, please read the whole application before beginning. This is really important to make sure that you actually know what you're applying for, how much information you need, if there's any documents that you need to find or request. And then here are some guidelines. So applicants must have moved to Canada as an immigrant or refugee within the past 10 years from the date of application. And normally they'll hold permanent residency or Canadian citizenship status. International students are not eligible. So if you are only here to study, you are not eligible for this scholarship. This is for people who have immigrated to Canada and are now going into their studies or are completing a program in Canada. Applicants must fully complete the application form and attend an interview if requested. So when your application is submitted and June 30th has passed and all the applications are in, there will be a committee that will look over the applications, and there may be a need for interviews for them to determine who should receive the scholarships. I don't know if I mentioned before, there are multiple scholarships awarded. So it's a good idea to apply for this, even if there are a lot of applicants, because there could be several scholarships awarded. Applicants must be registered at an approved post-secondary educational institution in New Brunswick and provide proof of acceptance or enrollment. So that's that transcript piece and the proof of enrollment or acceptance. Financial need is established by way of an income assessment. So this is why the application asks for your tax return information to help them determine if you have financial need, which is the point of a scholarship, is to be awarded to someone who actually needs it in order to complete their studies or this particular scholarship. Applicants must live in the Greater Fredericton area, and then you can receive the scholarship only once. So if you have applied in the past and received a scholarship, you cannot apply again. If you receive a scholarship this time, you will not be able to apply again. However, if you were not successful on another year, you can apply again. So here is the process. There are information sessions and assistance for completing the applications. This particular info session that I'm doing now is being recorded during March break. And then we'll probably have another one in May. And then important dates, there's a deadline for submissions, June 30th. Final decisions on awards will be made before the end of July. And then only successful applicants will be notified. So if you have not heard from the committee before the end of July, then unfortunately you were not successful. But if you are still continuing your studies next year, then you can apply again. Incomplete applications will not be accepted. So that's why our checklist is so important. You need to have everything submitted, otherwise your application is incomplete, and therefore it will not be looked at for the scholarship. And then the decisions of the committee are final. So if you did not receive a scholarship this year, unfortunately, there's no appeal process. The decisions are final. On the bottom half of the second page, we have our personal information. So your name, your date of birth, your address, your email address, your phone numbers, and then your immigration status. And then finally, the date that you landed in Canada. So that might be information that you need to find through parents or adults that you are here in Canada with. Okay. There. On page 3, we have this first half, which is about your education. So what is your highest level of education achieved to date? So if you are still in high school, you would put the grade that you have completed So if you're in grade 12, you haven't finished yet, you would put grade 11. And then I might put the date that I expect I will graduate. If you have a bachelor's degree, you would put bachelor's degree. Here, enclose your transcript from your highest level of education. If you are unable, please describe why. So if for some reason you are not able to get access to your transcript, for example, if you did your studies abroad, outside of Canada, in your home country, or in another country, you may not be able to get access to that transcript. So here would be the section where you would describe that and explain why you don't have a transcript attached to your application. Do your absolute best to find that information. Most educational institutions will have that information, but if it's not available, you can explain that right here. Now, the academic institution you will be attending. So you would put the name of the institution here, or the school. So it would be, if I was going to the University of New Brunswick, I would put University of New Brunswick right in this line. And then here, the address of the institution. So I think UNB is 13 Dineen Drive, something like that. So I would put the address of the school that I'll be attending in this line here. Then the program of study that you have selected. So if you're going to a Bachelor of Arts degree, you would put Bachelor of Arts. If you're doing electrical technician program, then I would put electrical technician right in that line. Then the length of time to complete the program. Most university programs or bachelor's degrees are 4 years, but you can find that information on your program's website, or you can contact the academic advisors for the school you're attending, or your guidance counselor could also help you with this section. Then, at what level are you currently in this program? Are you starting the program next fall? Are you in the middle of the program? So you've completed some courses, or are you in your final year? So September to April will be the last year, and you will be graduating after that. Okay, right under the education section, we have this employment history section. So if you worked in the past, this would be the area where you would indicate that. If you're currently working as well, an alternative to filling out this section is to attach a resume or a CV. So if you already have one of those, it might be easier to attach it. Otherwise, you can just put your position and where you worked, and then a little bit about what you did at that work. So this would be paid employment. Over here, we have a section for your volunteer history. So anything that you were not paid for. These might be included in your resume, but you can also include it in these lines here. So you will put the organization that you volunteered for and what you did and how long you were there, and a little bit about what you did. Now, this fourth section on these 2 pages, we have a little bit of a zoom in. So your family or domestic situation. So here it says, briefly describe if you are taking care of family members, their time, responsibilities, etc. So if you have especially children or a spouse that is dependent on you, you would describe that here. If you work to help support your family, but you are not an adult, you would add that here. If you have responsibility of taking care of brothers and sisters, you would add this in this section. So this is anything having to do with your family or your home and what that looks like for you. So anything that you think would help the selection committee understand what your life is like in your family and your responsibilities in that unit. Okay, here we have, move my screen again. Here we have a nice big section on your interests. So this is the section where you get to describe yourself. So what you enjoy, what you do in your spare time, what your hopes and dreams are for the future, and then why this scholarship is important to you. Why do you deserve to get this scholarship, this money, so that you can go to school and pursue your dreams, your hopes, your goals in the future. So it could be some activities, could be music, it could be arts, it could be sports, anything that that is interesting to you. It could be a specific area of study that you're looking to go into, or maybe your career goals. So that would be something to include in this section. And here it says in 50 words or less. So make sure you're being concise and that you're giving enough information for the person reading your application to really understand your interests, but not so much information that you run out of room and become wordy and repetitive. All right, at the bottom of this page, we have a section for your income and expenses. So this is where you'll need your tax assessment or your tax return. So in this first line, you'll put your information, and it says it right here on line 236. That's the amount that you would put in this box. And then if you have a spouse, you would add their number here on the same line. And then if you live with your parents or guardians, then you would add that amount right here in this last box. And then it will give you a total at the bottom. Now, if you filed your taxes with the MCAF Tax Clinic, they can definitely help you to find this information. Okay, now we have our expenses section, and this is the last section to complete on the form. So you would want to include if you're financially responsible for children, for a spouse, or other dependent people. And then you would give details such as how many people, what your level of responsibility is, and the age of your dependents. So if you are a parent to 3 children, you would put 3 children and that you have full custody, or maybe partial custody and what your responsibility is as an individual. If you're taking care of grandparents or parents, you would add that on here. And then any other expenses that you think would be necessary for the committee to know. So if you're paying rent or insurance or food and that kind of stuff would be in this section. In the second part of expenses, we have any extraordinary expenses due to health issues, transportation needs, or other reasons. And then you need to explain. So if you have a health issue that requires you to take medication and you have to pay for that medication, that would go in this section. If you have transportation needs, such as having to travel to attend your program, your post-secondary program, you would put that in this section. And then, or any other reason that the average student might not have as an expense. And then finally, this is the last portion of the actual application. So this is where you would put your signature once you have completed all of the sections and you've gathered all of your documents. So you would sign here and it says, I certify that my answers are true and complete to the best of my knowledge. So you are saying that everything in your form and on your documents are correct and true to the best of your knowledge. So basically you're saying that you are telling the truth and that the committee can trust that all the information is correct. The second point says, I agree to allow my image to be used in published materials, presentations, and websites that promote the programs of the Multicultural Association of Fredericton, Incorporated. So that might mean that most years, the successful applicants will receive a certificate and there will be a ceremony and there will be a photograph taken of the group of successful applicants, and that goes on our website. So if we go back to, if you actually go on our website, right next to the section with the application form is a picture of other people who received the scholarship. And then third, I agree to participate in any MCAF promotions for the Newcomer Scholarship Fund, including media interviews, presentations, or speeches as requested by MCAF. So if the Multicultural Association asks you to, and then there is some room for discussion there, that you would agree to do those things if you receive the scholarship. And then you put your signature down here and the date, and you gather up all of your documents and you submit it to MCAF. Now, this is the last part of the actual MCAF application for the scholarship fund. If you have any questions, you can contact me directly, or you can contact the employment team, or the youth department can also help you with this application. And if you are in high school, there are also your Swiss workers who can help you with this application as well. I hope this was helpful and good luck. Have a great day.